What the hell did I just see in the most fabulous way? Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Enjoy the video. That's alright guys, today we're going to be talking about the third episode in American Horror Story Apocalypse, entitled The Forbidden Fruit. And yes, I have to say, this season just, again, with every single episode and everything they are doing, continues to impress. I am just floored by everything we're seeing here, considering the quality as of late with this show. I've been in it since the very beginning, since the very first season, and I haven't really seen one since I think the second season that really grabbed me like this one has, and I can't wait to see where they're going and how they're going to flesh out everything that happens. As I've said in other reviews, before we get into any of this other stuff, the idea that we're, the last season, politically relevant, kind of nice in its own right, but got really too crazy there as it kind of got into the more overall story. And then Coven had a lot of fun elements and a lot of probably the best stuff in the last couple of years, but I think it fell apart at the end. And then obviously Asylum is my favorite. Murder House was okay. It was kind of getting your feet wet and trying to feel out what this is actually going to be like every single year. And then Roanoke is probably the best since Coven, just because it had that shake-up where they really switched gears halfway through the season and decided to do something completely different. That was nice, but it had a lot of things that were more head-scratching than anything else. Apocalypse, on the other hand, has been really entertaining. I haven't been this entertained watching American Horror Story for a really long time. So just let's go over just general discussion, talking about what we liked, what we disliked, and just what we think is going to happen in the future. So I got a lot of people watching my episode 2 review, which super grateful for. I'm glad everyone had a chance to actually peek at it and share their thoughts and opinions. Obviously, a lot of people thought that what I do isn't really reviews. As I say in my reviews from time to time, I actually just like discussing it. I don't like doing a breakdown of everything that happens in the episode, because I go into this with the understanding that you actually watch the episode yourself, and I'm not simply playing catch up for you. There are plenty of people on YouTube who will actually do that, and that's totally fine if that's what they want to do. My idea is let's have a general discussion about the show and where they're going. Of course, there was a lot of people who pointed out stuff that I didn't really know, and I'm just more of a casual viewer of this show. I like covering it. I have this platform so I can talk about it and share what I really like and what I dislike, but I don't think about it as heavily as some other people do. So definitely there's way more knowledgeable people and people who think more analytically about this show than I do. Quite frankly, ever since I got out of film school and I went to law school and everything about like that, my interpretation of art and how I perceive things that I watch has gone down drastically. I watch things more for entertainment value than to actually dissect them and everything else like that. That's why I don't really consider these, more so like breakdown of everything that happened in the story. And let's talk about this type of reviews, but more of discussion reviews. So anyway, with all that being said, I know that was kind of a long build-up. This episode starts off with Michael yet again trying to figure out who's going to go to the sanctuary. This fortress they've built up, 10 years worth of supplies, and really the salvation that we've been looking for our characters this entire time since they've been in this bunker, like 18 months. And he's interviewing everybody, and you're starting to get a sense of who's going to go and who's not going to go. Obviously, even though it didn't really seem reasonable after last week's episode, it seems like Mr. Gallant was going to go, Evan Peters' character, and then Billy Lord's character, really, Mallory, is going to go as well. And that was the thing about the beginning of the episode. They were alluding so much in this episode to the whole Apple thing. That's something that flew right over my head in the second episode of this season with the whole Apple computer, but a lot of people picked up on that. And then, they didn't even make it subtle in this episode with how many apples and references and the forbidden fruit and everything. I mean, heck, the episode is called The Forbidden Fruit. So obviously that was going to be their main focus. Anyway, he tells Mallory that she is absolutely perfect for the sanctuary. He wants to take her, and she showcases some powers that she's never really seen before. And obviously this puts both of them on guard. And Michael actually shows something that we haven't seen before from him, but a lot of people have been speculating that maybe he's some kind of a demon creature, and obviously they jump right into this with the fact that he is a devil worshiper, and he might actually be some kind of a demon entity. They jump right into this idea that Miss Venable and Miss Meade are plotting against everyone. They don't want Michael to take everyone for the sanctuary, especially since Miss Venable is not going to be able to go to the sanctuary with everyone else. And a new horse carriage shows up. They get new apples, which is something that I really hate. Like, this horse carriage shows up. They have these fresh apples that were supposedly grown in the sanctuary. At least that's what they lead us to believe. And this idea that we can keep them fresh for like a week, that's not the way apples work. They're not going to be absolutely fresh in a week. Why did they have to say it's a week until Halloween before we can actually eat this? I understand the whole Halloween reference, but why couldn't they just make it like, in a day or two, maybe tomorrow night we'll actually do that, and like these apples will still be good? But no, they said a week for a reason. I don't know why that is. Maybe somebody else can tell me why. Probably because the 7 days that it took to create Earth or whatever. I mean, obviously, like I said, there's people who think about this way more than I do. I just kind of throw it out there. Anyway, the idea that the apples were going to be poisoned using some of the snakes that have gotten into this sanctuary coven that they have, and kill everyone involved. And that is really what this whole episode was. Really, it was very, like I said the last week, these episodes have been really self-contained. And for a season that's supposed to be encompassing not only the story they're trying to tell here, but also tying in the first and third season of this show with various characters, that's kind of applaud-worthy, especially with how quickly this show has moved in the past. And then that's one of the reasons I think I like it so much, is because I like the idea that we're taking our time and slowly, methodically moving through everything that happens in this story and allowing these characters and these situations to breathe. Heck, we even got a flashback with Miss Meade and how she remembers her childhood and her past and the first time she was literally felt up in the theater, and none of it was true because, as they kind of hinted at in last episode, she is literally a synthetic cyborg, or whatever you want to call it. And this isn't something that all these memories were put into her. On a similar note, and I don't know if I got this right, maybe I just completely watched this wrong, is the kid from Stranger Things in her flashback, does that mean that this episode or this season is in the same universe somehow as the Stranger Things universe? Because it kind of takes place in the same time period. Stranger Things takes place in 83, 84, and this one actually takes place in 88 is when the trick-or-treaters come to the door, and that's where I think he is. Tell me in the comment section below, because I didn't actually look that up. I just kind of noticed, you recognize the kid's voice. Anyway, that would be interesting to know, especially since they kind of looped back around in the last part of the episode and said that, yes, all of that stuff was actually true and based off a real person. So Stranger Things and American Horror Story, Apocalypse, in the same universe, confirmed, whatever. Anyway, the idea that we are moving towards a direction in this show is something really interesting. I like the self-contained stories, but the idea that they poison these apples using the venom from the snakes that they got, that were just kind of in this little outpost they have, and they killed everyone. Completely shocking. Not something I expected, even though, we have various characters playing multiple roles, and we don't want to have everyone lingering around and causing a lot of trouble and a lot of headaches for everyone trying to make this show at any given time. It made a lot of sense in that respect, but completely overwhelmed to have everyone killed at the very end of this episode, especially when you kill off people like Timothy and Emily, who were really being set up to be the focal points of this season. Maybe they're going to come back. I would be really very surprised if they don't come back in some way, shape, or form in the future of the series, but that is not what we got at the very end of the episode. When Cordelia from Season 3 and Madison from Season 3 and all the Coven witches, everyone that we're probably going to be focusing on in this season, come back and actually start bringing people back to life, like Mallory and Coco, because for whatever reason, these two women or these other women are actually witches. that's one thing that they alluded to, and hopefully we get a little bit more answers than just simply more questions next week. I think that's one of the things we need to start doing, is actually building to something. Also, we need to talk about the fact that Madison knows Mallory for some reason. I mean, obviously there was some connection between Mallory and her witch hood and Madison and the witch hood, but we know that Madison is this famous LA star and that Mallory has been working in LA helping Coco like kind of perfect her designs and her kind of public persona. So maybe there's some bad blood or history there. That's going to be really awesome to explore. I can't wait to actually see where they go with that. But the self-contained, straightforward story, getting through these characters, getting through the situation that we needed to get through, and how we're going to advance going forward, is probably the best thing about this season. It's probably the best thing that this show has done in years. And I can't wait to see what they're doing. Every single week, I am just absolutely floored by how much I am enjoying each individual episode, and I can't wait to see this. I wasn't like this with Colt. I enjoyed Colt for what it's worth, but it just wasn't grabbing me the same way that this is. Same thing with Roanoke and Hotel. I never liked Freak Show. Coven, like I said, was the last really good one, but you have to go all the way to Asylum to actually get to something that I really, really enjoyed. So, guys, kind of a straightforward video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion for episode 3 of American Horror Story Apocalypse, entitled The Forbidden Fruit. Hope you guys, if you haven't already, go watch it. I mean, go watch the season. It's great. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button. It's been real.